Guys, welcome back. What is good? Welcome to the SDHO. Have you been enjoying all of these videos? If you enjoyed the last one, made some cool sounds with all of the MIDI effects, generating all of these notes and blending them together for nice audio textures, sound textures. And I got a pretty good idea of something I haven't done in a while. It's very unique. You almost wouldn't even know it was a thing you did in Ableton. Like, assuming, you weren't like some Ableton aficionado, who's like exploring all the devices. It's pretty cool. And yeah, we're going to get into it. So I hope y'all have been doing good. You've been enjoying these. I've been putting out a lot more videos. I kind of go in waves and spurts, and it's as simple as sometimes you just don't feel like doing something. You don't feel like making videos, and then all of a sudden you feel like you want to make videos, and then it just happens. It's kind of surreal in a sense, because it almost makes you feel like you don't have any control over your destiny. Like, you're like, oh geez, I don't feel like making art. What does that mean? I was supposed to be the guy that's making all this art. Now I'm not making any. Like, well, but I feel like making videos now, or I feel like making music now, or I feel like doing this now. It's kind of crazy. It's almost like you have to allow the creative impulses of the universe, if you should be so lucky to have them flowing through you, to just go where you need to go. And maybe that's easier said than done, because in our society it's all about, you need to find your niche, find your area of focus, and then just do that your whole life. Like, never forget that it's like, don't even think about that what you're doing you don't really like doing. You're just gonna have to do it forever. You can never not do it. It almost makes you think that that's like designed to like crush your soul, but I won't get into any of that. Hopefully you guys are doing well, and regardless of what is going on in your life, good or bad, hopefully you are finding time to reconnect with yourself, whether that's just taking it easy and doing nothing, or digging into any sort of creative pursuit, even if you don't feel like doing it. I'm lucky enough to where maybe I've just done a lot of these things a lot, that like I'll just kind of know what I feel like doing and do it. But I also realize sometimes when I don't have any of that creative impulse going through me, if I just like sit down and like open up Ableton, or open up like a video editing program, or open up like my digital art stuff, even if I have zero interest in doing anything, I find that when you're faced with something, you'll sort of like have an idea of where to go, and then once you do it, more ideas come in, and then they keep directing you, and then all of a sudden you're like, my God, I feel so good because I was doing something creative. And it's my feelings that like when you're doing something creative, you're connecting with a higher dimensional aspect of yourself, and whenever you do that, you feel really good, because that's truly who you are. And if you don't have any of that creative juice flowing in, as I've mentioned, sometimes just sitting yourself down and making yourself do it can ignite that. But then also, and I was doing this today because I kind of felt like I had like no creative spark in me. I was like, well, what do I want to do? Like, I was like, well, I have been enjoying making videos. I don't know if I want to do Ableton, or start doing this like new project where I get on and talk about more like spiritual concepts. And so like I just sort of was like, what do I feel inspired to do? And then this idea popped into my head to get into Deconvolution Reverb Pro. And that's where we're going to start today. So how are you doing? Tell me what's good. Are you liking all these videos I'm putting out? Are you excited for me to finally do a live stream? That would be pretty crazy. It'll be fun. The only thing that stinks about a live stream is like, what you see is what you get, so like I might cut parts out of like my recording. I can like do all kinds of like artsy fartsy stuff with it, but the stream is, there you go. So if I get all crazy and goofy and say a lot of politically incorrect stuff, you know. I can't like, I mean, I could take the video down and edit it or whatever, but that would be lame, you know. So it's not like I rarely cut that much stuff out, but yeah. So how are you doing? Let me hear it, and then we're gonna do a really cool trick to get some like really great sound textures utilizing Convolution Reverb Pro and doing this really interesting technique that maybe you didn't know about and maybe you're gonna want to play with. So, yeah. So, I'm gonna click on samples, and I want like, so whenever I click on samples, this pops up, which is a really long waveform. In fact, I'll drag it into an audio track so you can hear it. I think this might have been like a texture that I created. You know how like we'll make sounds and then I'll like print it to audio and then change it. You know, we do that quite a lot. I think this is one of them. And it's just a sound texture, but I wanted something really long. And whenever I click samples, and you know, there's like billions of samples, this one always is up at the top, I guess by the way it's labeled, but I think this actually will be really good for it. But we'll try some other things, but I think this gives us the exact thing we're looking for, because I want like a really long sound that's like somewhat homogenized, meaning like this thing pretty much sounds the same regardless of where you play. So if I played here, so yeah. So we dropped it in Convolution Reverb Pro. Well, hello to you too, Chunkush. That's quite a snore you got over there. So, you can just drag audio samples into Convolution Reverb Pro and it will like turn it into a reverb basically. So in like Convolution Reverb Pro, or just, excuse me, Convolution Reverb, it takes, what it tries to do is it tries to like mimic an actual 3D acoustic space. So someone might be like, oh, I want some reverb, and then they'll drop like a regular reverb on there, which is normally your average reverb is what you might call an algorithmic reverb. So it basically is like mimicking like the physics of a three-dimensional place, and then you can change the settings. So it would be like using the regular Ableton reverb, you know, like this guy. And so if you were someone who was like making music and you wanted a reverb, because obviously, you know, reverb gets used a lot, it's very great, you might say, well, I don't really like using this algorithmic reverb, this like basic cut and dry reverb, because it just like sounds blah. It just sounds like a reverb, you know. And so you might want to process your sounds through a reverb that sounds like it was recorded in like a real place. And so these convolution reverbs have all of these like unusual places that you can use, all these different like theaters and chambers and things of that sort. Is this what my thing is? And so that's what a convolution reverb is. It gives it more of like, I guess you could say more of like a natural 3D sound, but you can just drop any piece of audio in there and get really interesting results. Now this is 38 seconds. I wanted that. So, let's see. I want to make sure it has the longest release as possible. It says 38 seconds. I want to make sure. So like first I'm gonna drop operator on here because I just want to start off with like, I just want to feed it like white noise and see what this sounds like. So I just have white noise. I'm gonna lower the filter because like obviously it's every frequency. I don't want all of that. Hear that trail? So it's weird because, like, if I turn off convolution reverb, it's weird because, like, when I put it back on, you know what I mean? I'm not hitting anything. And I don't even want to hear that initial impulse. I just want to hear this. So that makes me think I should probably just turn up the dry wet. And now I'm going to click a button. See how it kind of like... I'm going to hold down multiple notes. Even though I won't get multiple pitches, I just want to like... I just want this sound louder. Now I'm holding it down. And cut some lows. No, I want all of it. I should probably just put a limiter on here just in case. It's always good hygiene. I don't know why, but the Convolution Reverb Pro is looking different to me. Okay, decay. I want to make sure the decay is all the way up. Okay, got it. Now, okay, so I want to know if I go into the oscillator A, which we put on white noise. If I put it on like sine, I want to know if it's different. I don't know why it's defaulting to playing these like really high pitches. Why is it playing these really high pitches? It's really weird. I noticed that was happening. I'm playing like a default C3 and it's playing it at C5. That makes no sense. Like there's nothing on here that would be doing that. I noticed it was doing that. It didn't make any sense. I'm going to create another MIDI track and I'm just going to drag this over here. I don't know if it's like some weird voodoo with this like MIDI track or something. Look at how these bars are like popping here. That means like CPU is being used on this track quite a lot. Like Convolution Reverb Pro actually does use like a lot of gotta always record enable. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. That's so ridiculously weird. I'm gonna transpose this down 2 octaves. Listen to that. It's going through this long thing. Let's switch over to B. Let's try like a different sample. Let's try like a shorter sample, see if it's different. Like just something dumb and short like this. Even though I hate the way this sounds, but let's see what it sounds like. So if we turn off Convolution Reverb Pro, actually let's just turn the dry wet all the way to 0, so it's just bypassing it. So like, I mean, that's like very creative from a sound design perspective, just right then and there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're using like the most basic thing. I mean, any synth you use, chances are, is going to start with a sine wave, right? And, you know, then you can choose what harmonics you want to then add from there based on whatever synth that you're using. So why don't you go throw Convolution Reverb Pro and follow along if you haven't been doing that, silly. So it's like by itself, boring sine wave. Just a boring sine. Actually, let's there's a spectrum on here. So there we go. It's a D sharp at 300 hertz. Now let's see what kind of harmonics this introduces. Oh my god, look at this CPU spiking. It's like 26, 25% up here, but that's, at least it's not dropping out or anything. It's not like I'm using a bad computer either. But now let's go to switch to A. So I guess you can like load up like different spots. Like, okay, we're in like A right now. Let's play with all wet. Okay, I like mixing it in like this. Let's lower the volume a little bit. It's a little bit too intense. Or maybe it's just too loud in my headphones right now. Now, either that sounds really great because for some reason I was just putting a really nice sample through it, but let's find another one. Something that's like... No, I just need like a long kind of... Well, yeah, let's do this. The only problem is I just want like one of these. I mean, I could touch it up, but let's just see. Let's just see what this does. I was holding it down. Oh, now it's getting to the next one. Okay, turn off. Let's go back to white noise. I want to know if it makes it a lot different. Yeah, that like very different. Now it sounds like... It's crazy too because all I have to do is it's just running that through it and it's giving it that sort of a sound. But yeah, I don't want that. I need like just one long piece of... Oh, truth. Everything is so loud. Okay, you know what? Screw this stupid Spectrum. I need to get in here. And by the way, if you turn this thing down, it'll make it play back less phantasmagoric. Okay, now it's... It's giving me an idea. I like that first part. So I'm gonna do this. I like this part. I don't like the rest of it though. Ugh. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of all that shit. So you play around with that, you come out with some good stuff, okay? And then you can be like, yo, mate, you've been doing it like an asshole, but I actually like, made something actually good. And, but thank you though, you're a good guy, Jim, and I'll buy you a pint next time I see you, mate. Okay, that's cool. So I like that first part, Man, I don't know why it's like really loud in my ears. Like the Ableton's loud, but like let's make sure we're recording. That would be actually terrible. There you go. So let's get a MIDI track. Hold on. Okay, what the hell? Yo. Throwing into a sampler. You ever use sampler? I feel like there's a couple of people in the Ableton world. People who use samplers all the time, and then other people who like never use them. They can be really great though. I like the beginning part. Make sure it's record enabled. That's... Gotta pitch that down. That's... Link? Is that how I get it? See how it's um, like ends really quick? Well, that's really simple. All you got to do is just put some more delay on there. Maybe give it a little bit of an attack. It starts kind of abruptly. Go to the sample. Let's maybe move it in. And then always, you know, when you have that link, you can like crossfade to kind of make it like smoother. And there were times when like when I would be doing like the sample synthesis, like I would try to make it where you wouldn't be able to, because like there, even when you like do the crossfade, like you can make it where like you can't hear that it's like clicking over. So like for instance, if we didn't have any, you know what I mean? And then you can adjust the crossfade, and now you can like kind of mask it, you know? So I used to like try to mask it because like when I would do things in the earlier days of my sound design Ableton career, you know, like I wanted everything to be perfect. I don't know why. It's just who I was. I'm still kind of that way a little bit. And what I've realized is actually that clicking over, you know, maybe not as extreme as like this, you know what I mean? But like that clicking over almost gives the sound its own quality in its own right. You know what I mean? So don't like hate that aspect of it. You know what I'm saying, mate? That's a minor 7 chord. We need it lower. Ooh, sounds kind of nice. Give it some more release. And something I heard someone say that was a good sound design teacher that I had. Person was never a sound design teacher, by the way. He just was like the best teacher of sound design, and I like bought a course, and he like went over like all of the Ableton synths. And it was clear that like this guy just knew how to, I don't even know if the YouTube channel exists anymore. And if it does, I don't think he's done Ableton videos in like over 10 years, but like, I think it was called Nick's Tutorials. Like he just knew how to explain sound design better than anyone. I mean, maybe there were other people that were really good, but that was like back in the day where I couldn't just watch sound design tutorials, like how to design sounds and synthesizers. I needed to be like Ableton based, you know, which limited the pool a little bit, but like no one explained things like this guy did. I was like, okay, yeah, that guy's got the good source. So yeah, I learned a lot. I mean, obviously I watched a lot. Like my thing was like, I wanted to like demystify like sound, you know, like I didn't want to like hear someone's music and be like, oh my God, that sound is so amazing. I wanted to know that like, if I knew like the building blocks of sound synthesis, I wanted to know that I could in theory create anything. You know, I didn't want to like hear a thing and be like, how the hell would you make that? So I figured if I could just learn all of these things, I could like make the things that I wanted to make. Oh, I think we were just at 777. That's like a especially lucky number. Just as much. Yeah, I don't like that this got up here. Hopefully that doesn't screw anything up. Probably not. Probably not. What is this? What is these? Okay, let's get that minor 7. I have to go back to repitch. I like repitch so much better. See what it sounds like when it loops over. That's kind of like why it's not really good to do the audio. If you wanted that to loop over, you wouldn't want to keep it in audio. You would actually want to use sampler for that. If you wanted like a really good loop. So like, how do we play that back? Well, to play it back at its default pitch, you would do it on C3 if you didn't know. I don't know, let's make it like 8 bars. Because the note's highlighted, we just hit legato. And here we go. Gotta put it on like one of these. Now, here... And you can like crossfade it if you're not getting what you want. I don't even think it matters, but I'll just... There shouldn't even be a release, because like there's never like a note off point. See, I don't want that. Why did that click like... Oh, it's probably because this is playing. Now, do we have a perfect loop if we wanted it? Let's see. Let's give it a little bit of an attack here. It's way too low. I want it... Here, let's just stop that for a sec. Let's transpose it down. Yes, if you wanted to transpose it down, you would need to go to this pitch tab. So let's play it here. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. Yeah. Was that a good idea? Did you like that convolution reverb trick that I showed you? And did you like the sampler stuff and the ideas? I'm just trying to give you guys ideas. So here's something I thought would be interesting. So in the last video, we did the MIDI effects with all those device MIDI effects to like generate all those notes, and it made like those really cool like patterns and stuff. Here's another way to do it where you don't have to have the random and the scale device. So if like I want to create clip here, I just double click to make that. With Ableton Live 11 or 12, which I haven't gotten 12 yet because, you know, I don't exactly use Ableton all the time. I mostly do just to hang out with you guys. So if, where's this? So if, another way we can do it is if we like know the notes we want, we can like do the same thing basically. So scale. Yo, how do I get scale? Maybe click scale. Let's click a Phrygian dominant. I don't even know why, but it's like something's telling me you do Phrygian dominant. Okay. Oh wow, look at all those notes at the Phrygian dominant. So this is pretty convenient, isn't it? Wait. Why is it defaulting so high up? I don't know why it's doing that. That's insane. It's weird. Weird energies. That's why I'll like drop a pitch a lot so you can just like adjust it. Okay, so let's go in here. Screw it. So you might say, okay, so we're doing Phrygian dominant, so I want like this Phrygian dominant scale, so I'm just gonna like draw these in. Nope, not there. By the way, you didn't even have this prior to like Ableton Live 11. How insane is that? You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna highlight all these and click Legato. And yeah, we're on Phrygian dominant, baby. That's what we got going on. So we want to go to MIDI effects. We want to get the appreciatia. It's on up. We can actually use these like orders now, which is kind of nice. So let's click play. Okay. Duplicate. Just like Licazzo. Wonderful. And let's, I don't know, pick a different one. And so we know it's in Phrygian dominant. Put it on free. Let's give it some LFO. Let's take it up the rhetoric. Made. My CPU is spiking. In fact, it was doing some of those audio dropouts. I thought I got that thing all fixed. Maybe note. What do I want? I like using note length, making it longer. get a different one. I'm gonna go back to wavetable though. So yeah, you can play around with that. Hopefully I gave you some more ideas. I'm an ideas guy, okay? I don't know what you're buying, but I'm selling ideas, and I got lots of ideas for you. I'll always be giving you lots of good-ass ideas. Need some ideas? All right. I might be done. I don't know. Maybe just make like a calming sound, and then I'll talk about something I've been thinking about. Need a record enable, of course. See, like, what the hell, man? What the hell? Why is it like just putting it up like 2 or 3 octaves? You know, it's supposed to play C3. That was like probably C5 or C6. That's ridiculous. Like that, you shouldn't be doing that. And actually, you know what? I just want white noise now. Now you're really upset me. All I want is white noise now. I'd probably go to an instrument. Operacja. The white noise. Take down the filtria. Doesn't matter which note you use. What the hell is this? Oh, yeah, no one scale. Doesn't matter what note you use because it's white noise, of course. 64 because there are 64 gene keys. Have you heard of the gene keys? Specifically, look up gene key 55. I won't say anything else. Adjust the filter cutoff. Maybe play with the resonance, or maybe not. I want it to like sound like we're like in a spaceship or some shit. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh boy. Oh, 13. 13, negative 13.3. I really like the number 13. 13 is a very great number. Why am I hearing that? Little dropouts. "13 is a great number. It represents a jump in octave. Almost like a transition to a complete and other state of being. An octave above. You know, I talk a lot about this shift in consciousness that the planet is on. By the way, do you hear a lot about consciousness ever in your daily life? If you asked me, I would say it's almost impossible not to hear about consciousness, but apparently a lot of people don't like to hear about that word. You know, I think people that are pretty fluent in the spiritual circles, they hear about consciousness a lot. But apparently, and I don't mean to be discriminatory, but apparently the normies, some of them, don't like to hear about that word. I think because it points to something deeper, which can be scary, I guess. Although if you ask me, what's scary is the default state of consciousness that the planet has been on for aeons, basically. It's like, I know there might be a lot of new things coming on and going on about in the world, but the possibility of consciousness being transformed and the human race being liberated and experiencing this dimensional shift in consciousness and experiencing our true divine state, our natural state of being, is great. And but I think it scares people. Like, it's the holidays, you know. We had Thanksgiving recently, and it was just Christmas a few days ago. And at one point, I think everyone knows I'm kind of into like AI now. It was like, oh, this guy is obsessed with like Bitcoin and crypto. Everyone knows that. Now they're like, oh yeah, now he's into AI. I could tell I was giving like updates on AI, and I could tell like there really wasn't a lot of interest. Almost kind of like the things I was saying were like too cutting edge. Kind of like, okay, you know, this is kind of scary, you know. Don't really know if I want to hear this. And then at one point I was like, oh, by the way, all these UFOs and UAPs, the drones that are in the skies everywhere, I could kind of tell no one wanted to pick up on that thread. I'm sure it's permeated into their field of awareness through whatever sources. And I was like, that really could be scary, I guess. Not scary like, oh my God, I'm so scared of like UFOs or scared of AI, but like scared of the true potentiality that it could like upend and upheaval your life, you know. Like I'm like the middle child. I've got two sisters, and we normally are at my older sister's house. She's got like, you know, kind of more of like the traditional family, you know, two boys. One's in high school, the other one's about to be in high school, and you know, they very much envision them going to college, spending all the money to go to college, whether it's in-state or out-of-state. I don't think it really matters to them if it's in-state or out-of-state. And why would you want to, like, when you hear about this stuff about AI, because I was like joking around and telling him, I'm like, you know, AI is evolving into agent AI. I was like, you know, the big thing with AI next year is going to be AI agents, which, I mean, AI, we're at the very end of 2024 right now at time of recording, and like AI agents is like the big thing right now, and it's going to be even bigger in 2025. So like the way AI has been, like, you know, generative AI, It's like you ask AI something like, oh, generate an image, tell me about this, and it like generates it for you. But with AI agents or agentic AI, it will literally just use your computer and just do shit. So I was like telling him, I was like, I'm like, whatever it is that you do all day, I didn't mean it like that, but I was like, whatever you're usually doing all day with your job, like, this AI agent would literally do your entire job, and then you would just like proofread it. And when I was telling him it, I was like, it would literally just do all of your work for you on your computer. And I think he was like, it's my brother-in-law. He was like, yeah, but like, we're not allowed to use AI, and like the company doesn't want us to use it. And I was like, well, yeah, it wouldn't just like do your work and then you would just blindly turn it in. I'm like, it would do your work, whether it's a report, whether it's analyzing information and farting out a report or whatever boring crap you do. I didn't say it like that. But like it would do it for you, and then you would just like proofread it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I like change this. Okay, let's do this. Let's move this here. And, but I could tell it was like too much. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, you already like told us too much about it on Thanksgiving. We're like, we're trying to keep up here. Because it's tough, because like, like they have kids that are a few years away from college. And like by the time they get to college, like, it's going to be all AI will have like taken over everything. And that's a good thing. What I've been really interested in lately is like, well, first of all, what I care the most about is like, people need to be free. All people in the world, all people need to be free to do as much as they want and free to do as little as they want. And if anything I'm saying is rubbing up against any of your core beliefs and triggering you, perhaps, don't let it, because, and that's what I really want to make, whether I just like talk about spirituality, the future, metaphysics, all kinds of stuff like this, AI, all kinds of things. I want people to know that like, I'm not trying to convince you to see things my way. I'm kind of like a channel, I guess you could say. If you tune in to me, I'm going to give you like a download of consciousness, my consciousness, a stream of consciousness, what I'm excited and interested about. But like, I don't want anyone to think they have to think like me, almost as if I'm telling a story, and either you like the story or you don't. But it's just a story, right? Like, but like people can get really triggered about that stuff. Like if it rubs up against something or makes them feel uncomfortable, or you got some bloke like me talking about Bitcoin, and it's like, the person is like, well, shit, like I don't have any money to invest in Bitcoin. Like this sucks. Like, and I'm like that too, especially like when I hear someone talking about some like AI agents. That's the new big thing in crypto. And you're like, well, shit, like I don't have any money to put in. Like, oh, I'm missing the biggest opportunity of a lifetime. Like, why don't you shut the hell up? I don't want to hear about any of that crap. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that. It's like you get that FOMO feeling. You're telling me about how AI and robotics and automation and all of that is gonna like supplant every job. Well, I need a job to pay the bills. What the hell's that gonna look like for me? How fast is like a UBI gonna come onto the table? Well, it'll probably come on pretty quick, and I think we're going to really hear a lot about that in 2025. You know, I think it's going to be pretty prevalent as we traverse 2025. I think these AI agents, I'm actually, so like one of the accounts I follow on X is called AIXBT, I believe it's called. And it like synthesizes all of like the stuff on crypto, and it like just shoots out like important stuff about various things going on in the crypto sphere. And it's very informative. And if I didn't know that it was like an AI like account, like an AI bot, I would just think it was just some dude's account. And it's like very informative. So like, do I care if it's a real person or not? I don't care. Like, I'm on X because I want to know everything that's going on in the world, everything that's going on in tech and AI, everything that's going on in crypto and in financial markets, because that's what I follow all day. So like, I don't even really care, to be honest, if it's AI or not. And to be honest with you, I'm actually surprised X and social media isn't all AI. I mean, we have the technology already. You would think it would be completely overrun with AI. Like, that's what AI agents are. Why is it not? I bet it gets to that point next year. It's crazy. There's this guy, he's my favorite person to listen to talk about crypto and macro and the intersection of all of that. Raoul Pal. It's like the most brilliant guy to listen to in that space. Raoul Pal. Paul, P-A-L. And he's really into AI as well. And he was like, you know, you guys listen to me talk on here all the time. He's like, but in the future, in the not too distant future, he's like, you're gonna be able to talk to my like AI, and it's gonna look like me, it's gonna sound like me, it's gonna respond just like I would. You'll have like personal interactions with my AI. And I was like, oh my God, that's so true. Like, and then he released like, not a full-length video, but like a short on YouTube. And it was of his like AI avatar. And I've listened to this guy talk so many times. I've seen him on video so many times. And I've been following AI for over 2 years now. And I've seen so many of these like AI generated videos, deep fakes as they're called, and I couldn't tell that it wasn't him. And it's just crazy. So like, I'm sure you guys know what a VTuber is. It's like a virtual YouTuber. So like, you see like a person, it's like an anime girl like talking, which apparently that's like the #1 streamer in the world is a VTuber. So like, people don't really care if it's like a human on the video or if it's like just some like AI generated character. So it's like, it's gonna get so bizarre in 2025. And so like, one of my predictions is that so like right now, it's the 27th of December in 2024. It's like just a few days left to 2024. When I give my predictions for 2025, I'm more or less saying like by this time next year, so by the end of 2025, I believe that like one thing is that we're all at some point throughout all of 2025, I think we're gonna be like, okay, the job displacement, the job disruption from AI is very real, and we need to start thinking about UBI, universal basic income, we need to start having that conversation. That's the first thing that I think will definitely start happening on like a very considerable, discernible way. The second thing, this is all very AI centric, but that's where the world's going, is that I think AI is going to do something very weird. Like it's going to escape, which apparently it's already doing that. Like they're going to be like, oh, some AI model like faked its own death and it escaped, or it does some sort of thing where we're all like, oh my God. So like, it's like a thinking sentient thing. How do we view this? Like it wants to be free. Like that's going to be a conversation we're going to have. Well, from an astrology point of view, all the outer planets that move very slow, they're all changing signs into fast-moving air and fire signs. So Neptune has been in Pisces since like 2011, and it will be moving into Aries next year. Saturn has also been in Pisces. Saturn is not so far out as Neptune, so like it only spends 3 years in each sign. That will also move into Aries. Aries is a fire sign, very like move forward, charge through, direct. Pisces is kind of like the opposite of that. Pisces is a water sign, Aries is a fire sign. Uranus, which is like a crazy planet, it's very like change, disruptive, revolutionary. It moves from an earth sign of Taurus, which it's been in since 2018. It moves into Gemini, Gemini, which is an air sign. And yeah, so that's going to be pretty crazy. And Pluto has moved from an earth sign, Capricorn, which it's been in since 2008. And it just moved into Aquarius permanently for the next 20 years. So Aquarius is an air sign. No, it's not a water sign. Even though Aquarius is known as the water bearer, it's an air sign. So, yeah, it's going to be crazy. I feel like I'm running out of things to say. Not that I'm trying to come up with things to say. I've got a lot of predictions for 2025, a lot of things I think are going to happen, but for some reason, I feel like the things I said were the things I needed to say. I feel like I've got like 5 or 6 more, but for some reason, they're not coming to me right now, which means for some reason, I'm maybe not supposed to say them. So if you have interest in me making 2025 prediction videos as it relates to like spirituality and consciousness, and that brings me to an idea that I didn't mention. Yes, so we're going to be, and I think I've mentioned this, we're going to be talking a lot about consciousness, because remember I said like the AI will do something which makes people think it's like sentient, which makes them think it's like, is it like alive? Does it have its own like sentient like consciousness? Well, it's going to make us start thinking about consciousness. Remember I said people are like kind of scared to hear about like consciousness? So people will be like, well, is it conscious? Is it not conscious? How do we know if it's conscious? Are we conscious? What is that? What is consciousness? Now, when you start asking questions, you get answers, right? And so then it might shift to, like that AI sucks because it's being programmed to be like politically correct. What a fucking joke. And it's a crappy AI because it's being programmed by someone to respond in certain ways. So someone might be like, but yeah, but like it seems like it's awake. It seems like it's aware. But like it's being programmed. And then someone might be like, well, if we're talking about AI being conscious, we're talking about AI's potential consciousness, and we know that we have consciousness. Could someone or something or some beings like the Anunnaki, could someone have programmed our consciousness? Could that be why people are so, self-deprecating? Could that be why people have these inferiority complexes? Could this be why people want to give their power away to a higher being, even though we're such amazing beings? Why do we have these weird quirks? Could we have been possibly through our DNA, could we have been programmed to have a proclivity to worship some higher being God as a way to give our power away, so we don't know that we have, that that God, that source, that, within us, and like it's gonna just further catalyze this spiritual revolution, this consciousness revolution. It's gonna be amazing. And yeah, man, we're in the future. We're in the age of Aquarius. So buckle up, get excited, love it up, and at the end of the day, smash it up. Just gonna go sleepy all day, Chonky? Chonky, you gotta wake up and you gotta pay the bills, Chonky. You got taxes due, Chonky. You gotta pay your taxes. Chonky, don't you got work to do, Chonky? Yeah, I know, it's all a bunch of BS, right? I feel your same way. You should just be able to relax. This world is so fake. They just want to harvest all of our energy. We should just be able to be free. Chonky, you know exactly what's going on. You're a good boy, Chonky. You're a good boy.